Friday. Welcome on into Let's Bet It. Lauren Javar here with Mark Zeno. MZ. Wow, that was like not words for a second. It is almost the weekend. How are we feeling after that Celtics Heat game last night? Some great hockey games, which what the heck were the Florida Panthers doing defensively with 3.6 seconds left in the game? We'll get to that in a little. How are you feeling just heading into the weekend now?
We're feeling good. We need a bounce back day, especially after for those of us who took the under in the Oilers Flames game one. Yeah, that didn't go well for me. So 15 goals scored was quite the feat. So if you were on the under, well, welcome to hell. It was wonderful.
I know. Actually, I'm on the over today, and we'll talk about that when we get to our NHL segment, but lots to get to today. We have our Better Up segment talking about the YRFIs and NRFIs. We have NBA Morning Radar with Brian Scalabrine coming on to break down the game last night and what he saw from his Celtics team in an incredible performance because FTX Arena was basically a ghost town come that fourth quarter. Marcus Smart was
Yeah.
breaking ankles and breaking hearts, saying a prayer for Max Strus's ankles funeral at this point. So that was exceptionally fun to watch. And then we have our NHL. We have two games going on tonight. I'm looking forward to the Rangers game taking on the Canes, but I'm calling it the Rangers game because I want to see them win. And then we have the Battle of Alberta going on later today, which hopefully we're going to see a lot more goals being scored because we saw quite a few last time. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's bet it with our Better Up segment, MLB. We always start with the YRFIs and NRFIs. Yes runs first inning, no runs first inning. I have two strikeout props today, Zeno. You're on a YRFI and a NRFI, so I'll let you go first. Break them all down.
All right, let's start with the Nerfies. Cincinnati and Toronto. Cincinnati starts Luis Castillo. All right, it's his third start of the year. He was scoreless in his first two. Now the Blue Jays are starting Hyun-Jin Ryu. All right, he's making his second start since coming off the IL, his fourth start on the year, and he hasn't gotten deep into a lot of games just because they've still been trying to stretch him out. Excuse me. But this is not a Cincinnati team that scores a ton of runs. They've only scored in the first inning in less than 25% of their games so far on the year. And on the road this year, they're averaging just 0.3 runs per game in the first inning. Toronto is a well-pitched team. They're home. They should be able to take care of Cincinnati, and Cincinnati should be able to take care of Toronto in the first inning, especially since I get a good price here on the under. So let's go NRFI here between Cincinnati and Toronto. The YRFI. Going back to the wheelhouse here with the St. Louis Cardinals against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, Zach Thompson is starting for Pittsburgh. Thompson was scored on in the first inning in his first three outings. In his last four outings, he did not give up a single run in the first. But, however, he faced San Diego, Detroit, and Cincinnati twice. Those are four teams that are in the bottom 10 in the league in batting average and the bottom 10 in the league in scoring. In fact, Detroit is the lowest scoring team in the league. You're getting a St. Louis team that scores the most runs of any team in the first inning in Major League Baseball. They have the highest percentage rate of scoring in the first inning of any team in Major League Baseball. They're taking on a Pittsburgh Pirates team that doesn't have much here. I know I'm betting all on one side, basically on the Pirates to score. I'm sorry, rather the Cardinals to score in the first inning. But the number is low enough here, juice-wise, for me to back it. So give me yes on Cincinnati. Pittsburgh and St. Louis.
I like it. I really do. I'm on a couple strikeout props today. So are you. I'll break mine down first. I have Carlos Carrasco over 4.5 Ks at plus 110. There's good value for me on the over here. And I know I look at the Rockies and their strikeout numbers. They're only posting a K rate of 20.8% against righties over the last 2 weeks. It's pretty good. But when you look at the numbers of other teams, that only ranks 11th best in that span. So it's not completely elite. It is good, but not great. They have a WRC plus of 76 over that time too. So I think Carlos Carrasco should be able to get some length into the game, and he reached 4.5 or more strikeouts in 5 of his 8 starts so far this season. So I feel really good about over 4.5 at plus money in this spot. Carlos Carrasco going up against the Rockies. The Rockies strikeout 5 or more, baby. Nestor Cortez, I also have him at over 5.5 strikeouts. A little juicy. I'm laying 30 cents for it, but I feel confident in this one. He's going up against the White Sox. They have a strikeout rate of 25.3% against lefties over the last 2 weeks, which is at this point the 10th worst in baseball. They're also posting a WRC plus of 89 against lefties during the same time frame over the last 2 weeks. Now, Cortez has reached this total in each of his last 2 games. He has 18 strikeouts, over 15 in the third innings pitched, and he reached this total in 4 of his 6 starts so far. So Nestor Cortez, over 5.5 Ks, laying 30 cents, and Carlos Carrasco over 4.5 Ks at plus 110. I want to see a lot of Ks today, baby. How about you? What do you have for your strikeout props?
You have extra large huevos. I looked at Nestor Cortez. I'll always look at Nestor Cortez for the K prop. I saw the 130 and I saw minus 130 and went, run away, run away, run away. No part of it. But listen, I love the handicap. And the problem is that, yes, you're right about the White Sox. Recently, they've been striking out more, but they're still the lowest K rate team in Major League Baseball. And for me, that is, and after the series these two teams played last week, it was very tight. It was back and forth, even though the Yankees sort of dismantled them there over the course of 4 games. Still, it was a little too juicy for me, but I give you credit. I love the handicap, and it's a gutsy play, just a little bit too rich for my blood. So best of luck to you on that.
Zeno, it's Friday. We're going for it. Let's go.
Novels, huevos. Let's go 2K props for me. Back to Toronto with Hyun-Jin Ryu. Over 4.5 Ks, and I'm getting plus money here. Now, as I mentioned before, he's making just his 4th start of the year and his 2nd start coming off the IL. So he made 2 starts, had forearm tightness, had to go to the IL, and now he's coming back again. The issue for Ryu is that he hasn't pitched 5 innings yet in any start this year, so he hasn't gotten to 5 Ks. I feel like right now, after his last performance, they're willing to stretch him out a little bit more. This is a Cincinnati team that strikes out over 9 times per game, one of the highest K rates in Major League Baseball, 24th in all of MLB. And Ryu is home where he's been much better than he has been on the road. So if Toronto can get a lead and give him a little bit of a cushion, he'll get past the 5th, probably into the 6th. If he gets to the 6th, this is a K prop that should hit. Ryu is not a huge strikeout guy as far as number of strikeouts per inning, but still, this is enough for him throughout his career statistically to hit 5 for me when I'm getting plus money on over 4.5. And then, of course, I'm going to take Trevor Rogers of the Miami Marlins. His number, even though I'm paying minus 118, it's against the Braves. Highest K rate in Major League Baseball, and why not? I mean, it's just right now going over on Braves against the Braves for the strikeout prop seems to be cashing quite well as of late. So I'm just going to ride the train until it hits a station.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. The Braves had 8 strikeouts in their last game, but then the 2 games before that, they had 16 strikeouts each. They've been struggling at the
more
plate.
than I did in high school.
Hopefully they get it figured out. They play the Marlins this weekend, so we'll see what happens there. But that is a good bet. Right now they lead MLB in strikeouts. So that's a good bet. Again, someone that has been striking out on their bets, Brian Scalabrine. Let's bring him on in because we witnessed a phenomenal Heat Celtics game last night. So you're probably a little bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning, Scal, because we saw Smart basically break ankles, break hearts. I'm saying a prayer at this point for Max Struess's ankles funeral that's happening soon.
Man, after game 1, I understand the value of Smart and Horford. I'm sorry, microphones to the side. I understand the value of Smart and Horford, but man, that impact that they have, it makes you realize that the Miami Heat, who are a good team, number 1 seed, they're just not good enough. It's just the gap was a lot bigger than I thought. If you asked me at the beginning, Celtics are going to win this series, then the COVID protocol hits and Marcus Smart and all that stuff. But man, when you watch the team now, you're watching Jimmy Butler out there pretty much alone. They don't have anybody that breaks down the defense. It looks like one of those. And did you see yesterday, as soon as those guys were inserted back into the starting lineup, that was the time to jump on the series bet. Boston was still not they were still getting, I think they were a plus 120 at the time. Now that thing has shifted all the way to like plus 300. And I think Vegas knows, everybody knows that these two teams are not on the same level at all.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Scal, because I was going to say, really, they've been outplayed for 7 quarters of the 8 that they've played. If they even put together a decent quarter in the third quarter, they don't lose game 1 either. I mean, it's that obvious that Boston has distanced themselves from Miami.
Yeah, for them, it's taking care of the basketball. And then, defensively, the way you beat teams in the NBA, I'm sure, I don't know other sports. I have some friends that play football. A lot of times it's the battle of the trenches. it's when you play in the NBA, it's about rotation. As an offensive team, you want to get the defense scrambling around and you want to, move the ball from there. But with the Celtics switching and now they can contain the ball, it's going to be a lot of Jimmy Butler going one-on-one, which is fine. Like Jimmy Butler's a good player. Like I'm in the camp of Jimmy Butler is a superstar, but the rest of the guys, it's not going to be enough. Playing isolation one-on-one versus playing ball movement against the Celtics, that's going to lead to the Celtics going to this group's first finals appearance.
Yeah, no, it is really crazy. When you look at that game, Scal, how do you think that the Celtics finished this thing out in 5? Because basically, we saw that Jimmy Butler doesn't have any help whatsoever. It's literally him versus the entire Celtics team at this point.
I feel like 5 will be tough, but if I could bet like 6 and below, I would probably take that. Don't think the thing is going 7. But 5 would require them to win another game. So win 2 games at home, go back to Miami and win another game, which essentially leads us to what Mark just said. So they're going to outplay the entire Miami Heat except for one bad quarter. And this thing is like, I think there's a discrepancy. Yeah. I don't think the discrepancy is that wide. It could happen, but I'm pretty sure this thing will be over in 6 or less for sure. It's not going to go 7.
Scott, let me ask you a question real quick on Miami's defense versus Boston. Again, save that one quarter where they held them to 14 points. We haven't seen them struggle like this, not even against Embiid and Harden. And I know Embiid was banged up in the last series. Clearly, they were able to lock down the Hawks and Trae Young, but they don't seem to have an answer for all of the Celtics' weapons. And I guess that speaks to Celtics being a little bit deeper than I guess most of us thought. I thought Miami was the deeper team coming into this series.
Yeah, everyone thinks Miami's a deep team because when they have injuries, they have guys to step up, right? And that's part of it. But here's the problem with their defense, right? You mentioned Harden. One-on-one player. Trae Young, one-on-one player. Like, he's great at pick and roll. It doesn't mean when he gets downhill, he doesn't move the ball. Embiid, one-on-one player. Like, even Tatum, when he's at his best, he's not going one-on-one. He's not dribbling the ball down and trying to crack the defense off the dribble. He's actually at his best when he's playing with the flow. Now, as a player outside of Tatum, like if you're Horford or Smart or Brown, and you get that ball and Tatum's open on the wing, or maybe he's not really open, but he's already given that ball up. You got to make sure that ball finds Tatum again.
Yeah.
In the regular season, you can take that shot. In the playoffs, to make sure Tatum continues to go down the road of moving the ball, that ball has to be in Tatum's hands. He cracks the defense. He moves it. When he has the opportunity to get that thing back, you find him. Now he's making a play again. That Jason Tatum is unstoppable. So when the rest of the players are playing off him, I always call it like ball movement, randomness, but with an emphasis or a focus on making sure Tatum and Brown, when they're open, to get the ball. Because they have the right. If you miss them when they're wide open, they can come down and take the next 5 shots. They've stamped that right for being, all NBA, all-star players, like the money that they make, all that goes into play. But as the rest of the guys like Smart and Horford and Grant Williams, those guys do a good job of making sure that ball finds Tatum. Now the defense is already softened up, and now he's attacking with 12 seconds on the shot clock. Miami's dead at that point.
Okay, looking forward to tonight's game. We have the Mavs obviously taking on the Warriors. We saw game 1, the Warriors basically dominate everything that the Mavs did. They held Luka to 19 points, which was his low at this point for the postseason. Is Jalen Brunson, Scal, in your opinion, a guy that can step up, be the second guy that Luka relies on in this series, or does he need someone else to step up too?
I mean, the way it works with Dallas, and by the way, I have no feel on this game. Like, I kind of have an idea how games are going to unfold and how adjustments are going to be made. It's really a simple adjustment, and you talk about people stepping up. The Maverick role players who did a great job in Game 7 of making threes. How many wide open threes did they miss in that Game 1? And so you can't, Jason Kidd can't make these adjustments, and Luka can't make these adjustments. When you get open shots in the NBA, you got to be clipping off anywhere between 55 and 75%. I mean, obviously, or more. You can't miss wide open looks. 4 for 22 in the first half, the Dallas Mavericks were outside of Luka Doncic. So when you say step up, It could be Jalen Brunson. And I think, by the way, I think he does have to make threes. I don't think he could just be a guy that goes one-on-one because no one's going to overreact to that. I think Finney Smith, I got Bullock, I got Kleba. All those guys have to make threes or this is not going to be a series. It's too much to ask Luka to go one-on-one and beat these guys with the rotations that the Warriors have. And they do have a glimpse of leaving shooters open. And that's why the Mavs had so many wide open shots. Those guys have to, and I don't know if it's a mental thing. They just have to say, like, this is the playoffs. If we want to go to the finals, it's not like, hey, it's a make this league. I make this many. No, like, you have to step up and make those shots. So I look at Brunson partially, but I put all the onus on all the role players of the Mavs to hit threes. And if they don't do that, we'll see 20-point blowouts, especially on the road for the Mavs. At home, they make shots. Like, look, that's a great bet, by the way, as we go into the weekend. Like, the Mavericks are going to make shots. Their role players are going to make shots. Look at high Luka assist, look at high assist in general, and look at threes made by the Mavs. But they have to prove to me that they can do it. And I like those bets, the overs on threes made. But I don't love like what I expect because the Maverick role players are a roller coaster ride, and I just don't think Luka by himself could beat this Warrior team.
Scal, we look at Luka, and that's been the story since game one, since the game he had in game 7, and they talk about his offense. But really, I feel like Dallas's defense is what let them down in game 1 against Golden State. Now, I know what the numbers say as far as what Golden State was this year comparatively to Phoenix. They're still probably a better offensive team. Am I correct in saying that? Like, Dallas is facing a much different task in Golden State than they were in a high-powered Suns offense? Better
matchup. Like, the Suns are easier to guard for the Mavs than the Warriors are because they're better. They got length. They have size and length, and they guard one-on-one. Movement is a different animal. Remember Jose Alvarado from the Pelicans? Like, he would be better matchup defensively that he could just run around and keep it and stay in guys' airspace. But the Mavericks' defense is predicated on stopping individuals. Chris Paul in a pick and roll, Devin Booker one-on-one. The Warriors don't do much of that. They just fly around. And that's it's not a great matchup for their defense as of right now.
Okay, so we're going to do something fun for this game, Scal. We're going to create a parlay with the three of us. We each choose one prop that we think is going to be the best prop for this game. I'm choosing Luka over 31.5 points for mine. The only reason I am is because he's shown before that he could bounce back in the playoffs after a tough performance. And I know the sample size is small, but I look back at 2020, game 3, he had 13 points in 4 for 14 shooting. Game 4, he put up 43 points on 58% from the field. Now you look at last year, game 4, he had 19 points against the Clippers on 19 for 24 from the field. Game 5, 42 points against the Clippers, shooting 45%. Then you look at what we saw in game 1. He only had 20 points. He was shooting 33% from the field. Does that set the table at this point for a big bounce back night for him?
Yeah. The only thing, like the Warriors, Luka's going to get a lot of individual coverage. I talked about the threes made. If the Mavs can make threes off the jump in the first quarter, it's going to lead to a big night for Luka. So, but did you see Draymond, how he was sitting in the lap like Kevon Looney, a matchup that they should love. And Kevon Looney will funnel him into Draymond. And typically at that point, 2 on the ball, playing out of rotation, but the Mavs have to make shots. So, I really believe that Luka's performances of going over that number will be predicated on first, because the Warriors want to take away the 3 first. You have to make a few shots to kind of soften up the Warrior defense. But, Luka's a gamer. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that he's not going to play bad again. That's just not the way that he's wired. I'm really uncertain about the Mavs role players. But I like your prop. I like your 31. You said 31.5 going over. I like
31.5. Yes.
Yeah, I think Luka. Yeah. I think he understands that he has to have a big night, and I think he knows that he could turn in isolation into a post up and really put the Warrior defense on his heels. So I'll sign off on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with.
Zeno, you have an over, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as the prop, we'll finish up there. I mean, I can go back to the over for the game because I'm a sucker right now, and I can't stop betting overs when it comes to Golden State. I want to shoot myself in the head, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that in a moment. But I was going to look at Luka's assists because of the reasons you just said. He's going to have to get other guys involved. Like he can't do it all on his own. And at over 7.5, I feel like him getting to 8, especially if he gets it early. Like it's one of those props, Scal, where if he gets like 3 or 4 in the first quarter, I know I'm getting home, right? I mean, because that's the mindset he's approaching the game with, is to get other guys the ball and get them involved early.
Yeah. I mean, that's if he wants to win, that's what it's going to take. Okay, one thing that I want to note is Steph Curry, right? He had a bunch of rebounds in game 1. That's not like a random thing. The Warriors switching defenses, Draymond Green guarding Luka on the perimeter, Kevon Looney guarding guys on the perimeter. I look for like Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins also going to be on Luka, so you kind of take him out of the mix. Like I'm thinking they want to keep size on Luka. The only guy they don't want on Luka is Steph Curry. So what does that mean, right? He's going to be standing in the corner as Luka goes to work. Someone takes a shot. Steph Curry's going to be by the basket. So I like Steph Curry over. I think it's at 5.5. And I like Steph Curry going over rebounds in this game. If you don't like Steph Curry, you can jump on Klay Thompson, who doesn't have it, is not as good of a rebounder as Curry. He's at 4.5. So for my prop, you guys pick which one you like, but I would stick to Steph and Klay going over their individual rebound numbers. I do think that with the big man on the perimeter, shots are shots. And remember, the Warriors have out-rebounded teams, so that's a collective effort. With Draymond Green and Kevon Looney and Andrew Wiggins, 3 of their better rebounders out on the perimeter, but for guards to pick up the slack. So, and you guys play it how you want to play it. I think I would go with Steph Curry, but I wouldn't sleep on Klay Thompson either. If you feel a certain way or you feel like there's a certain matchup that you like better, I would play one of those guys on the over for rebounds. One's at 4.5, one's at 5.5.
I like it. Okay, so if we do Luka over 31.5 points, Luka over 7.5 assists, and Steph Curry over 5.5 rebounds, that comes out to plus 619 on FanDuel. I like the odds.
Giggity. Let's go.
So that's going to be our Pickswise battle of parlay. I don't know. Pickswise parlay. Pickswise prop parlay. Say that 10 times.
Oh, that's tough.
A lot of alliteration there for a Friday morning.
With the Pickswise parlay prop.
Pickswise
it's a triple
parlay
P.
Prop.
Just call it the triple P.
Triple P.
Zeno, I want you to ask Scal about your total that you're betting in this game too. See if you
Scal.
Hold on. Before you go, I can even solve your problem. Just bet one of the teams over. You're spot on with what you're thinking, right? You're thinking, yeah, this is gonna go over, but then the other team sucks and they don't let you blow them out, right? So just take the Warriors over. I took the Miami Heat on the under yesterday. I almost got sniped at the end with that desperation 3. They were at 104. It was 102. And I just said, you know what? I'm not sure how the Celtics are going to play, but I feel like the Miami Heat are going to struggle to score. So I said, okay, Miami Heat under. You're loving the Warriors offense. Just take the Warriors alone over.
Yeah, see, the last time I did that was Game 7 with Phoenix. So I'm a little gun shy right now and relying on one team to do all the heavy lifting. So let's not bring up bad memories.
You made up your mind from the very beginning of how this series was going to unfold. You made your mind up. I could tell.
Yes.
Going into it, you played out the whole series in your mind, and you were just waiting for you to be right. Yeah.
Hi. Have you seen my marriage up close and personal? Would you like to be my therapist? That's how every fight goes in my life. I've had that in my head. I win the argument on points, and when I do it in reality, I lose every time.
I'm doing the exact same thing with this series, right? This Boston Miami is supposed to be a knockout, drag out series, but like we keep getting all these blowouts, which screw up the over unders and stuff like that. So the way I look at it is this, and Miami is going to have a hard time scoring. So I'm going to continue to play the Miami unders as we continue to go through this series. For you love the Warrior offense. Just play the Warrior offense over, even though I have a feeling it's not going to look like. What is your Warrior offense number at? It's got to be like 110, right?
I would think so. Let me just double check here.
Yeah, I have a feeling
Snoop
this
around.
one's going to be a little tighter. I just think Luka's going to control we call it having your thumb on the pace. Luka's going to have his thumb on the pace of game 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 110.5 I'm seeing.
Yeah. So I like the Polly Pick the Pepper Pickswise parlay prop. I like that one.
Now say that 10 times fast.
Say it one time. One time is hard.
Scal, we so
Fantastic.
appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on. Your Celtics are rolling. I'm continuing to root for them throughout the series. I'm sure we'll talk to you in like 2 days. Break down more Celtics and great play that they're going to have as you
I'm
head
already
back
booking
home.
my ticket for the NBA Finals. Let's go.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate
Lock it
it.
in, baby. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. Scal, have a great weekend. Brian Scalabrine. All right, we're going to, sorry, Zeno. I can be your therapist too. I'm a good listener. I will be.
Dear Lord.
If you need.
I mean, he's 100%. Like, I literally have played the whole series out in my head, and I'm just waiting for myself to be right. Yeah, that's kind of the way I was going with the
It's
whole
okay.
thing.
You know what? My dad used to always tell me, Zeno, that the cream always rises. The cream's in the cup right now.
Cream in my coffee. I take my coffee black, creamless. I'm never rising.
Well, I do.
There you go.
Okay. I was going to say it, and it sounds kind of weird and dirty, so I'm not going to say that. Anyways, let's move on to the ice picks.
I'll tell all the jokes here tomorrow. Okay?
Let's move on to ice picks because we got 2 games going on tonight. One of them is my best bet of the day. It's the Rangers-Hurricanes game. I won't say my best bet yet, but I am on the Rangers. But we'll wait to go through that until my best bet of the day. On this game, I'm also on the under 5.5 at -115. So Igor Shesterkin looked a lot better. We saw 3 goals being scored in this game, one of them coming in overtime. The Canes came out firing in the 3rd period, but for 2 periods, the Rangers were the better team. They really were. But I think after that game, Shesterkin's confidence, it just seems to be a little bit higher than it was in the last series against the Peds. I don't know. The Canes didn't really do anything, in my opinion, to distinguish themselves as the better team in game 1. They got a lucky bounce in overtime, and to me, they were sloppy in their own zone, and puck management wasn't great. I don't think the Rangers are going to want to go down 0-2 in this series. They're going to be playing desperate, but you look at the under, you look at the total. It's under 5.5 is what I like. The Rangers held Carolina to not much in terms of true scoring chances. You look at the Canes. They showed they're one of the best defensive teams in the league. You look at both of their numbers for the season. The Canes finished number 1 in goals allowed per game with 2.44 in the regular season. The Rangers finished 2nd defensively with 2.49 goals allowed per game. So even if they just hit their averages in this game, it's going to be under 5.5. And I think we're going to see a lot of tight checking, physical hockey, and I don't think a lot of goals are going to be scored. You look at how Antti Raanta played. He played phenomenal. You look at Igor Shesterkin. He played really well, too. I think both goaltenders are going to play well, and I think that their defenses are going to be what we've seen a lot of during the regular season. So I like the under 5.5 in this spot. Do you have any bets on this game, Zeno, or are you leaning towards the Flames?
I can't figure the Rangers out. I really can't. I mean, I am perplexed as to the New York Rangers team that I saw for 82 games during the regular season is not the team that showed up for any game this postseason. Although you are right, they did look. And I said this to a friend of mine that if the Rangers are going to win, they have to play low-scoring defensive games. That's their forte. They can't get in shootout battles. They're not built for that. It's not who they are.
Yeah.
So game 1 was special, but it's just one of those things where it's like, are the Rangers going to dig themselves another 3-1 hole before they decide to start playing real hockey again? And I don't know how this game really plays out. They got a bad bounce. You're right. They were the better team, but momentum in the hockey playoffs is different than it is in every other sport when it comes to baseball and basketball. It's 7-game series.
Yeah.
It's just a different beast. It's a different animal. Those overtime losses sometimes can suck so much energy out of a team. And the really good ones bounce back and they dominate in the next game and they make sure the game doesn't go to overtime. They flat out beat them in regulation. So if you're on the Rangers, I don't think a 3-way money line is a bad play, but I just can't get a read on this series yet. I mean, maybe if I see something over the course of the next game or two that tips my cap, if Shesterkin looks like he did in game 1 and doesn't get a bad bounce and they win, I'll feel a little bit more confident. I do like the fact that the Rangers are the underdog here. If you're looking at the puck line at +1.5, it's just super juicy, man. Like I can't endorse it.
What is it? You're laying 82 cents right now?
Yeah, I can't endorse it. I just, it's not a play I'm ever going to make.
Yeah, I think the Rangers. Well, I'll get to this in my best bet of the day. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think that the Rangers showed me enough in the first two periods of that game to show that they're the better team in the series. I really do think so. Okay, let's move on to the Battle of Alberta because we are opposite for one of our bets in this game. The Flames take it on the Oilers. I'll just start first with the Flames three-way money line at -115. The fact that we're still laying 15 cents for the three-way money line, pretty telling for me. Both teams combined for 15 goals in game one. Matthew Tkachuk had a hat trick in that game. Calgary outshot Edmonton. I think it was like 48-28 in that game. They outshot them by 40 shots on goal. Goaltending was an issue for both teams. Mike Smith allowed 3 goals on 10 shots before he was pulled. Jacob Markstrom, they kept him in the game, but he did allow 6 goals on 28 shots. Connor McDavid, for me, was the best player on the ice. He had 1 goal. He had 3 assists. But Wednesday's game was the 4th time in 5 meetings that the over has cashed in this game. And the Flames, they were so much better than the Oilers. They limited the Oilers to 7 high-danger scoring chances. And I think that the return of Taney for tonight for Calgary, it bolsters the Flames' defense. Markstrom is probably going to have a bounce-back game. But the Oilers have a good offense to win a game or two. Calgary is 23-9 in their last 32 games as a home favorite. They're really good on home ice this season. Calgary is the better team, and I think they're going to be able to take advantage of home ice and be able to get it done in regulation tonight, -115. But I also think, Zeno, that we're going to see a lot of goals being scored, over 6.5 at -128. I know you're on the under in this spot, but the goaltending that I saw does not give me very much confidence moving forward. Yeah, they're going to have a better game, but 15 goals. That's more than double what the total is right now that's set for this game. I don't think we're going to see 15, but I think with how a lot of these games are playing out with the empty net goals at the end, guys pulling their goaltenders, I think that we're going to see an over in this spot. And like I said, Wednesday, it was the 4th time in 5 meetings this season that the over has cashed. The under has only cashed in 1 of 5 meetings this season. But tell me why you like the under the total in this spot.
Straight auto fade. Straight auto fade on a 15-goal game. Just play the under. I have no other handicap other than that. It's plus money. I'll take the straight auto fade. I mean, how fitting is it that you score 15 goals in one game and then they score 3 in the next? Like, it's a straight auto fade for me. I was on the under in game 1. I got embarrassed. I had my pants down, literally, at 15 goals. And now I'm going to pull them back up and bet the under again so I can be right. Because as Brian Scalabrine just told us, I've predetermined that this game will go under, and now I'm just waiting to be right.
That's what he is. He's following his predetermined mindset. I like it. Yes. I'm on the Flames through money line in the over. Zeno's on the under. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a lot of shit talking in the text thread a little bit later tonight during this game. We'll see how it goes. He's going to have the under sweats. I'm going to have the over sweats. We'll see how it all plays out. Okay, let's get into our best bets of the day. But before we do, Zeno, let's go to Pickswise.com. Who do we have for our 3-star play of the day before we get into our best bets of the day?
Oh, boy, this is a bad time for my computer to stall. Here it is. Okay, we are up and running. If you guys are looking at the golf and the PGA Championship still, we have Diane Knox-Phelps, Jordan Spieth at plus 1,800, and Brooks Koepka as the winners. And then we have a horse racing one, but that's it. Otherwise, no other 3-star plays here on the site for today. So
yeah, the Preakness is this weekend, isn't it? The Preakness is this weekend, isn't it?
Yes, the Preakness. If you haven't lived until you've been in the Preakness infield and watched a grown adult run across porta potties with a whole audience of thousands of people cheering him on, hoping he falls.
How many times that happened to you? Or were you the adult that was running?
No, I was not the adult that was running. I have spent many a Preakness infield back in my day. It is a festivity that is long gone. Moment of silence for the Preakness infield. It has now become much more corporate, and we can't have the hijinks and the flashers and the people doing inappropriate things in the hot sun of Baltimore. So that all has gone away. We've canceled it. But those of us who are old enough to have lived it back in the day have plenty of fond, vivid memories.
Yeah, my brother is actually going this weekend, and he just sent me a photo of his outfit. He's wearing a pastel pink hat and pastel pants. I'm like, you look like a Vineyard Vines walking commercial at this point.
Tell him to get a crab cake and enjoy the heck out of Baltimore.
I know. I'll send you guys some photos of his outfit. It's really bad. I think he's growing a goatee too. It's just a lot to handle.
Ooh.
It is a lot to handle. Anyways, okay, our best bets of the day. I think the Rangers are going to be a lot to handle for the Canes tonight. I like the Rangers money line, straight up money line at plus 142. So, like I was saying, Carolina won game one in overtime with a goal from an unexpected guy in Ian Cole, who used to actually play for the Avs. Great dude. I didn't want to see him score in overtime, though. But this is going to be a really tight series. The Rangers dominated for 40 minutes of that game. They outshot them 22-14 in 5-on-5 play in those first two periods. They also had a 77.74% edge in expected goals throughout those first two periods. They just couldn't find the second goal to put them up two and kind of get Carolina down a little bit. Sure, Shesterkin looked a lot better than he did in the first round. He stopped 24 of 26 shots on goal. Antti Ranta played really well on the other end, too. The Canes, you have to give them credit. They came out that third period. Sebastian Aho tied it up with 3 minutes left in regulation. Until the third, though, they didn't really have any chances of, basically chances on net that were worth a goal, in my opinion. Carolina hasn't lost a home game yet in the playoffs this season. They're 5-0. Over the last month, they haven't lost a single home game. I don't think they've lost a home game since March, to be honest with you. But these teams ranked first and second in goals allowed during the regular season. We're going to continue to see good defensive teams. But for me, you look at Shesterkin, he was 3 minutes away from his first shutout of the postseason. His confidence is going to be higher than it was. The Rangers limited the Canes' blue liners, who usually get involved offensively, and the Rangers dominating 2 of 3 periods, for me in my mind, is enough, because the Canes didn't really do enough or anything, honestly, to distinguish themselves as the better team in game one. They got a lucky bounce in overtime, and they got a lucky bounce with 3 minutes left in the third period. They were sloppy in their own zone. Their puck management wasn't great, and the Rangers are not going to want to go back to MSG down 0-2 in the series. They're going to play desperate. So I'm taking the Rangers money line in this spot at plus 142. That's my read.
All right. Well, I am also on the Rangers, but a different Rangers, the baseball Rangers,
a different
the Texas
sport,
Rangers.
different Rangers.
Yes, it's a sport of a different color, if you will. Rangers plus 1.5 on the run line against the Houston Astros. The Astros are starting Christian Javier, who's a reliever who's making his 4th spot start of the year. He faced Texas once already this year in 5 innings, gave up 7 hits and 2 runs, so it was kind of mediocre. Now, Texas is starting Martin Perez. They've won 4 of his last 5 starts outright. He's got a 2.01 ERA on the year and a whip of just 1. Texas this year, tied for best in Major League Baseball at 22-15. That's just under 60% against the run line. They are covering this year. They are home, getting points, getting runs against the Houston Astros here. Like them in the spot. So give me the Texas Rangers on the run line.
We're both on the Rangers tonight, baby. Let's go.
Blue shirt.
That's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go Pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Mark Zino. I'm Lauren Javara. Best of luck tonight, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's get it. Let's bet it. Happy Friday.